Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. We have another morning session ahead of us. Let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? Yeah, back into it again. Feels pretty good. I'm at a bit of an impasse right now, because I'm not sure if I should do another music theory lesson, because there's only one left. We only need to cover one more thing until we can start analyzing some music, and that is chord inversions, but we have been doing a lot of that. I don't know if maybe I should react to something just to let it digest a little bit. We'll probably do the music theory lesson, and then we'll take a little bit of a break, then analyze a piece. I think that'll be pretty good. Alright, well, what's on the agenda today? We're working on BWV 1001 and the Soar Mozart variations. Those are our two big pieces. Now, all I need done right now is the Presto for the BWV 1001. So I'm actually going to start with that, and I'm going to put considerable effort into breaking new ground with it. I've been a little lazy with it. If you've been watching, I've been going through a little bit of, stuff, but I need to get my practicing act together. So that is what we're doing. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. I've been taking this time to answer comment questions, so let's take a look at my comments section. Alright, well here's one that's pretty important. So this one is from 27th Liz. Hey, how's it going? Okay, well you started off great. Dope pants, love them. And I'm pretty sure you're talking about these pants right here. They are pretty dope, aren't they? They have like elephants and stuff on them. So your question is about sandpaper and shaping your nails, which I remember in the last extravaganza I was gonna show you my nail shape, but then I just completely forgot and opened up Pokemon cards instead. So I will do that at some point. But you said that you use 1200 grit for shaping and 3000 for polishing. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you this. If you're polishing with 3000 grit, you are not getting the most out of your polish, because you can go a lot further than that, and you'll be shocked at how good it sounds. So these nail files here, which these are by ASP, All Season Professional, right? So the black starts at 600, the white is 4000, and then the gray side, this is what you really want, is 12,000. I said 20,000 in the comment. I don't know where I pulled that number from. 12,000 is pretty good. And also, that's referring to grit. I don't know how they actually measure something so fine. Like, it's just like a really smooth surface at that point. When you shine with the gray side, your nails just like glisten in the sunlight. They sound really good. You can really tell the difference between it. Now, the only issue is I have no idea where to actually buy these. I was introduced to these by my guitar teacher in college because he would order them in bulk somehow. I have no idea from where, and he would hand them out at the beginning of the semester. If you have your sandpaper for shaping, use this for polishing. This lasts like about a semester. So I don't know where he got them. I found them twice in beauty salons. So I went to like Ulta, I think, one time, and they just had like a little rack of them, and I just bought every single one. I got my current stockpile from that, but I'm actually running out. So perhaps when I go out for another nail file run, maybe I'll do like a little vloggy sort of thing, and I'll show you like, this is where I got them from this aisle. So then everybody can go and buy them out, and then I won't be able to get them anymore. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend you getting a nail buff. The only thing is, I've tried other nail buffs and none of them are as good. They just simply are not as good as that one. They won't get you that shiny nail that you want. But yeah, that's a good question. Pretty good softball, which, I'm kind of in the mood for a softball right now. In conclusion, nail buffing is good, and I like it. Alright, well, that pretty much covers that one. We'll cut it off early here. I feel like I didn't talk for too long. I'm gonna go practice now, so I will see you at the bench. Alright, back to it. Let me get my sleeve. I will see you on the other side. Okay, I think I'm about ready to call it. So I've been working a lot on the Presto, as I said. So I guess I'll play that for you. So why don't you come on over? I'm just gonna play what I have. You'll see. I might even take the repeat. All right, here it is. Alright, and then the next part. I'm gonna stop there. Alright, so that is what we have so far. Pretty nifty, right? So, I'm gonna keep working through that. As promised, we have a music theory lesson coming up, and it is the last one of the remedial music theory. But after this one, we'll have everything that we need to start analyzing some music. So, let's go to the computer. Now, if I remember correctly, in the last one we covered triads and dominant 7 chords. I will assume that you have that down and you know what that is. We need to talk about one more thing before we move on. Chord inversions. Whoa! And we're gonna learn the figured bass for all of those as well, because that's how we're going to be analyzing stuff. We're going to need to write the figured bass. What is figured bass? You'll see in a bit. So here's how this works. So we have our triad. That's what it looks like. We call this a root position triad. So if we were analyzing a piece that we knew was in C major, we would first write a Roman numeral 1. In saying this 1, we know that the notes involved are going to be C, E, and G. Now, we don't know how they're going to be oriented yet, so we'll describe that with the figured bass. What we're going to do is take the lowest note, and we're going to write the distance between the lowest and the highest note, which, if you remember from the intervals, that is a fifth. So we write a 5, and then we take our lowest note and write the distance between that note. So 3. So the figured bass for a root position triad would be 1, 5, 3. Now, when you're writing Roman numerals, when you're doing an analysis like this, 5 and 3 are implied. So if any of those are present in that order where 5 is on top and 3 is on the bottom, we just don't write it. So really, how we would write this is like that. We would just write a 1, and then 5, 3 is implied. Let's get another triad up in here. So this is a little different. We have the same notes, C, E, and G, but now the third of the C major triad is in the bass. So if we see this in a piece and we know that we're in C major, we're still going to write 1. It's still 1, so the notes involved are still C, E, G, but now the orientation's a little bit different. We call this a first inversion triad. The way that we describe that with figured bass is we do the same thing. We take our lowest note, which in this case is E, and we find the distance to the highest note. So now it's no longer a fifth, which would be right there. This is a sixth. So we're going to write 6, and then we take the lowest note, find the distance to the next one, 3. Now, remember how this one was 5, 3? So the 3 didn't change. We're just going to write 1, 6 when we see a triad in first inversion. So we'll leave the 3 out, because like I said, that's implied. Okay, what if we have a triad with G in the bass? All right, again, we have G, C, E. So same notes, we're still going to write a 1. Let's do the same thing. We take the lowest note, find the highest note. That is a 6. All right, same as the last one. That's interesting. But now we have a fourth for the second number. If this is a first inversion, we're going to call this one a second inversion because the next note is in the bass. So here, C is in the bass, E is in the bass, and now G is in the bass. Root position, first inversion, second inversion is how we write the different inversions for a triad. And that's true for other triads as well. Let's take the 2 chord, which would be DFA, or D minor. What we have here is D minor in 3 ways. D minor in C major, C, D, that's going to be the 2 chord, and there's no accidentals, so we know that the 2 is always going to be minor in a major key without any accidentals. So we're just going to write a Roman numeral lowercase 2, and of course for root position, we just leave it like that. So when we write this 2, we understand that the notes involved are going to be DFA. All right, now for this one, we write a 2, but we can see that it's an inversion. The notes are further apart, so that's going to be a 6, 3, so we'll just write a 6. And now for the last one, it's going to be a 6, 4, which is second inversion. That's what we have. We have D in the bass, F in the bass for first inversion, A in the bass for second inversion. That is figured bass for triads. Now, not all of our chords have 3 notes in them. The main chord that we're going to be dealing with that has 4 notes is the dominant of whatever key that we're dealing with. The dominant chord is the 4-note chord that you get starting on the 5th scale degree of whatever key you're in. So G, B, D, and F. Those are the notes that make up our G7 chord. Okay, let's just see what all those look like. There it is, G, B, D, F. So when we're dealing with dominants, we're going to write a Roman numeral 5. Okay, And now we're going to do the exact same thing. This is G going all the way up to F. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to write 7 up there. And then we go to the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3. So we have 5, 7, 5, 3. And same thing, the 5 and the 3, those are always going to be implied. So if we just leave that blank, we assume 7, 5, 3 for a 4-note chord like this. Okay, let's keep going. And so this is a root position dominant chord. All right, here's the next one. So all I did was I brought this G all the way to the top up here, so up an octave. So now the B is in the bass. G, B, D, F, those are the notes involved, so we're still gonna write 5. Let's just go through it the same way. We have a 6th, 5th, and we have a 3rd. Things get like a little weird here. When we have this chord, I know that I said that 5 and 3 are implied, but we're gonna keep the 5 only to show us that it's a 4-note chord and not a 3-note chord, because if we left 6 by itself, that would make us think that it's a GBD major triad with only 3 notes, which it's not. So we're gonna leave 6, 5, and that is how we write first inversion for a 4-note chord like this. So that's just something that you kind of have to remember. The next chord that we have, this is going to be second inversion, because now we have D in the bass, so G, B, D, F. The notes that we have are still the dominant chord, so we're gonna write the 5. But now let's do the math on it. So that's a 6, 4, and that's a 3. Okay, now for this one, things are a little bit different. We're gonna get rid of the 6, and we just describe a second inversion dominant chord as 5, 4, 3. I don't know if you'll lose points if you write everything on your test, but don't do that. This is our last one. This is a third inversion dominant chord. So we're gonna write 5, it's a 6, 4, and it's a 2. So the identifying part of that is the 4, 2. So we're gonna get rid of the 6, and now a third inversion dominant chord will be written as 5, 4, 2. So those are all the different kinds of inversions that we'll encounter right now. Dominant chords, root position, we call that 5, 7. First inversion, 5, 6, 5. Second inversion, 5, 4, 3. And then third inversion, 5, 4, 2. There they are. And then just to write them out again, for the 1 chord, root position, we just write a 1. First inversion, we just write a 6. And then for second inversion, we just write a 1, 6, 4. All right, well, that pretty much wraps this one up. So let's go ahead and end this thing. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, all that stuff. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment. They don't even have to be good questions or questions at all. You can comment about anything. I am going to start my day. I woke up a little late, so, All right, I'll see you tonight.